Thank you so very much for tuning in. This is the latest from Congressman Matt Gaetz. Someone suggested the following plan to me. 1, show up to Congress. 2, participate in the speaker. Okay, 3, take the oath. 4, file a privileged motion to expose every settlement paid using public funds. Hit subscribe to this channel right now, ladies and gentlemen. There's also talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene being a part of this as well. Governor DeSantis, when he was in the House, also, and others, also Tulsi Gabbard, when she was in the House, tried to pass legislation releasing all of this information. But a privileged motion is not difficult to pass. I think that he just needs some GOP support, and he has more than just some GOP support. He has overwhelming Republican support to release hidden, secretive payments of never Trump Republicans, Republicans in general, and especially Democrats, who then pontificate about how terrible Matt Gaetz and others are as they use public taxpayer funding to silence any lawsuit, to hush and silence lawsuits. So hit subscribe to this channel right now. This is actually a Daily Beast article. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is his response to the House Ethics report that didn't lead to any charges being leaked or released. Okay, so you very likely had people. So we'll get to Matt Gaetz releasing the information in 1 second. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. I want to show you this. And I think that this is actually a huge part of it. I can't say that Kevin McCarthy has anything to do directly with this. But the interaction with Kevin McCarthy, I think, possibly enabled Republicans, some Republicans, to turn on Matt Gaetz, because half of the ethics committee is run by Republicans. It's a Republican House, but half of the people there are Republicans. Interestingly enough, there's very likely never Trump Republicans or Republicans in general, just like the same Democrats that pontificate about morality and ethics, who possibly are hiding payments. But listen, watch this interaction. This is very interesting. Then we'll get to more detailed information on what Matt Gaetz wants to release.
do it again.
Building your
Okay, so back to the Daily Beast article and Congressman Matt Gaetz's statement on X. Why do you think you're watching something that happened a while back when Kevin McCarthy was still leading the House before Matt Gaetz helped remove McCarthy from his speakership role? Why do you think that's so important? I think possibly, I'm not accusing Congressman McCarthy of anything in particular. I think that the Republicans that perhaps are against Matt Gaetz might be possibly, in a political sense, loyal to McCarthy. Okay, this isn't rocket science. So that's, I think, the basis of all of what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I'm kind of giving you a roadmap to where we're at right now. There might be Republicans who love Trump or like Trump or are loyal to Trump, but for some reason, because they're also loyal to McCarthy, they might be against Matt Gaetz. I think that he has overwhelming support, though, to release what he wants to release. He essentially told everyone that he has the goods, and this is essentially a statement stating he's going to release all the information that's held private from the same Democrats that pontificate. See, a Democratic staffer very likely wrote the ethics report against Matt Gaetz, alleging that he committed crimes. If he committed those crimes, why didn't Merrick Garland prosecute and convict him? That's number one. If Matt Gaetz is guilty, why didn't the Department of Justice prosecute Matt Gaetz? If Trump committed a campaign finance violation, which he was convicted of in New York, why didn't Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice prosecute him using federal statutes? Okay, these are very simple questions. These are rhetorical questions. The answer, of course, is that they wanted to circumvent the reality. There was no evidence against Trump or Matt Gaetz. That's why they left it to a state court to unilaterally decide what it thinks was a federal statute broken by Trump. But that's unconstitutional. New York cannot state, no state can decide that Trump committed a federal crime. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Matt Gaetz was accused of everything under the sun like Trump. But a respectful question to the morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats that happen to stumble upon this: where's the beef? Where's the indictments that you claim to love and care about? I thought Democrats love the process and feel that, well, if Garland indicts, it must be true. So where's the indictment? Forget about the prosecution. Why wasn't he charged? Okay. And furthermore, when Matt Gaetz releases all this information, we can go back in time here 7 years ago. This is 7 years ago, ladies and gentlemen.
It really makes me very angry.
Taxpayers speaking out about a little-known fund now making big headlines. Congress's Office of Compliance says over the last 20 years, taxpayers have shelled out more than $17 million on workplace settlements and awards.
If they're found guilty, they should be paying it out of their own pocket. Why make us pay for their sins?
The Office of Compliance is like HR for Congress members, staffers, and legislative branch agencies. Some have called the money a congressional slush fund for sexual harassment payouts. But the office says the $17 million total includes settlements.
So Congress has paid over $17 million to hide lawsuits on a variety of matters, including the matters that Matt Gaetz has been accused of. Okay. The same Democrats that think that Matt Gaetz and Trump are horrible human beings, are these the same Democrats that don't want transparency regarding the Democratic senators and congresspeople who have their own lawsuits hidden? They made such a big deal about Trump's hush money payments. This is $17 million in hush money payments. I think it was like $100,000 with Stormy, and that actually wasn't a campaign finance violation. The FEC dropped the case. It was categorically, without a shadow of a doubt, not a campaign finance issue. 3 FEC chairmen stated it wasn't. That was only 100 grand. This is over $17 million, where you have likely a number of Republicans, possibly never Trumpers, and a lot of Democrats that use congressional funds, taxpayer money, to silence any accusation
pertaining to a range of workplace issues like overtime or the Family and Medical Leave Act. Last week, Congressman John Conyers confirmed his office paid what amounted to a, quote, reasonable severance payment to a former staffer who accused him of sexual harassment. He denies the charges. Still, Congress members say change is needed.
Should taxpayer dollars be used to pay out congressional sexual harassment settlements?
No, absolutely not. And I think it's outrageous. If you want to settle one of these things, do it with your own money.
That's exactly what California Congresswoman Jackie Spear is trying to make happen. She introduced legislation that would make a Congress member personally responsible for.
So did Tulsi Gabbard, so did Ron DeSantis, and I believe the Democrats had control of the House at this point and the Senate, or at least the House. None of these bills passed the House. Okay. Why do you think Democrats voted against this? For the same reason that they cheated Bernie Sanders. For the same reason that they ousted and removed Biden. Because it's a political party that has an immense amount of corruption, that what it's known for is condemnation, pontificating, preaching, getting on a soapbox and giving sermons on morality and ethics as they act in the most unethical, immoral manner.
Payments, not the taxpayer. New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand introduced a similar bill in the Senate.
See, you have all of these Democrats introducing these bills. Right, okay. And so tell me again why it doesn't pass a Democratic-run House. Tell me again why it doesn't pass a Democratic-run Senate. Okay, so this is just public relations. It's public relations. Okay, and so we can go on, and this is DeSantis talking about exposing all of this years and years before Matt Gaetz and possibly Marjorie Taylor Greene release all the information.
But a new bill would abolish the office that hides congressional offenders and uses taxpayer money to hush up their indiscretions. We first told you about this Office of Compliance, and last night I asked Majority Leader Mitch McConnell about the unmasking of names. Would he be in favor of it, of alleged abusers? And he said this.
Laura, I think my attitude about that is I want to wait and see what the women of the Senate recommend.
I think that we should wait and see, possibly for the second coming, maybe for Haley's Comet, and just continue to wait and see. I think it's despicable and diabolical that people have used taxpayer-funded slush funds to hide their indiscretions. But we just have to wait and see. Maybe for the Cubs to win another World Series. I don't know, but we should wait. We should wait a long time.
Recommend on that and the other issues we're talking about.
So it could be possible that we'll never learn.
I'm going to wait and see what the women of the Senate recommend on that issue.
It's all about the ladies. It's all about the women of the Senate. I'll do whatever they say, except if it's about releasing names. Then I won't do that.
Why just the women of the Senate? I mean, doesn't everybody?
I think they're in a very good position to take the lead. Some men are involved as well on both sides.
And tonight we have some new clarity on the identity of the alleged harassers on Capitol Hill, whose settlements were paid from the slush fund. A whopping $100,000 went to 2 staffers of disgraced Democrat Congressman Eric Massa, who was forced to resign. Joining me now for reaction to all this, Congressman Ron DeSantis, Republican from Florida. He's the co-sponsor of the Congressional Accountability and Hush Fund Elimination Act. I can't believe there's actually an act with hush fund in the title. Congressman DeSantis, take it away. I mean, Mitch McConnell would not commit to.
I'm all for transparency, but releasing the names of people who have committed crimes like the crimes of those Democrats that are within the slush fund secret name list might embolden our enemies. And I suggest we tread carefully with this type of behavior.
Unmasking the names there, as far as I could tell, at least.
Well, think about it, Laura. You have a situation where members of Congress can commit misconduct. The taxpayers will pay for their misconduct, and then it's all kept secret. So what kind of behavior are you trying to promote? And here's the thing about the offenders. This is taxpayer dollars. You as a taxpayer have a right to know how your money's being spent. So my bill would unveil the claims that were brought, the amount, and then the perpetrator. And the American public deserves to have that information. There's no way that that should be secret.
Are there any other funds that we should know about on Capitol Hill that, if you've come across that?
We're actually, my staff, we're researching to get all of them, because what happens is they'll do one permanent appropriation. So just the pot of money that exists outside the budget process. So people like, did you know this was there? I was like, no, I don't know it's there, because it's not in the budget. It's not in our appropriations bills.
How is that even allowed?
It shouldn't be allowed. Mueller's funding is actually, DOJ claims, is outside. I think that's a bad interpretation. I don't think he's entitled to that. Yeah. But that's what they're relying on, one of these funds.
So he can spend basically as much money as he wants, without any real oversight.
I mean, justice could tell him to stop, but they've not shown any inclination of doing that.
So he can hire as many people as he wants.
He's got 16 prosecutors.
That all?
Did they have
what have they found so far?
Did they have that for the O.J. Simpson murder case or Oklahoma City or any of those other cases? No.
Kate Steinle's accuser basically got off nothing.
So, you have that. You have Tulsi Gabbard. You have Ron DeSantis. You have several Democrats that have introduced legislation. All Matt Gaetz has to do, and I think Marjorie Taylor Greene could be a part of this, but all Matt Gaetz has to do is simply make this a big issue. So he's already stated he's releasing it. He's essentially already released some information on it, but here, file a privileged motion. A privileged motion, I don't believe, is very difficult. And so every single settlement from congressional Democrats hurts them in 2 years for the midterms. Doge, one interesting thing is Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy themselves could eliminate this entire slush fund. Completely eliminate it. And so that's also an interesting possibility. Okay. Now, if the rebuttal is, well, it's Congress has to vote on it, if you make it an issue and you make it, see, Democrats work on trying to embarrass and humiliate and demean and disparage their opponents as they themselves are committing the same acts, despicable, behavior, criminal conduct. But they're really, really good at getting media to serve as a public relations tool to shield them as they pontificate and also attend the parties of, famous musicians and Democratic Party donors and all of that. And Hollywood producers who are now in prison and former 90s celebrity, musicians who are also in jail right now. So they're really good at doing despicable things and then pontificating about others doing despicable things and judging and condemning. So Democrats are very good at judging while they actively hide and participate in the depraved, despicable, nasty things that they're accusing others of doing. Okay? There's a reason that one former Democratic, let's put it this way. Trump is not pictured in any painting in any Republican donor's house. We'll leave it at that. Okay? But let's listen also to why this is happening to Matt Gaetz. So he went after McCarthy. McCarthy could be possibly influencing Republicans against Matt Gaetz. That could be why the House Ethics Committee. I'm not accusing McCarthy of anything. I'm saying possibly. And also, he's an outspoken critic of the Democratic Party, Matt Gaetz is. And this is one example.
That's 5 minutes.
I guess I'm just wondering, Mr. Attorney General, has anyone at the department told President Biden to knock it off with Hunter? I mean, you guys are charging Hunter Biden on some crimes, investigating him on others. You've got the president bringing Hunter Biden around to state dinners. Has anyone told him to knock it off?
Our job in the Justice Department is to pursue our cases without reference to what's happening in the outside world.
Just yes or no. Have you done that?
That is what we do.
So it's a no?
No one that I know of has spoken to the White House about the Hunter Biden case.
I'm wondering then.
Of course not.
Okay, I got it. So Hunter Biden is selling art to pay for his $15,000 a month rent in Malibu. How can you guarantee that the people buying that art aren't doing so to gain favor with the president?
The job of the Justice Department is to investigate criminal allegations. You have information.
Are you investigating this? I mean, someone who bought Hunter Biden's art ended up with a prestigious appointment to a federal position. Doesn't it look weird that he's become this immediate success in the art world as his dad is president of the United States? Isn't that odd?
I'm not going to comment about any specific.
Not going to comment, not going to investigate. So
right.
Hunter Biden associate Devin Archer told us that Hunter sold the appearance of access to then Vice President Biden. Are you confident he has stopped doing that?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Hunter Biden associate Devin Archer told us that Hunter sold the appearance of access to then Vice President Biden. Are you confident he has stopped?
I'm going to say again that all these matters are within the purview of Mr. Weiss. I have not interfered with them, and I do not.
So this is what Merrick Garland, directors of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, intel chiefs, this is what they do all the time. Okay, they revert back to bureaucracy. Well, it's taken care of by another individual. I don't have direct knowledge. It's an ongoing investigation. Bureaucrats will utilize bureaucracy to shield the public from the truth. They'll also classify information to hide the truth from the public. So, for example, when President Obama was defending Hillary Clinton, he actually stated, there's a short on this channel you can watch. It's like 20 or 30,000 views, something like that. There's a short on this channel where President Obama says, well, look, there's classified, then there's classified. What Clinton had on her emails wasn't really classified. So you have this, when it's Democrats that have private servers or 50 intelligence officials lie about Hunter's laptop. Trump could never have gotten away with any of this. If Trump had a laptop where Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. and Jared Kushner were engaged in likely bribery and graft, you think that any organization or any government department would defend them? Not in a million years. Not in a million years. So that's the issue, ladies and gentlemen. There's a double standard, but there's also an overt attempt at just simply lying to the American public, utilizing bureaucracy as a shield. That's it. This isn't rocket science. This is like, it's like a schoolyard where, this is like, a long time. You're writing something with invisible ink, or I don't know, like, I can't tell you. You're not cool enough to know. So this is just fun and games that you learn at a young age when people want to, your classmates want to deceive you or want to have one up on you. It's like, we know what's going on. The people who were in power were lying through their teeth, and they were doing so by lying by omission, which is a really disingenuous, deceitful type of lie. It's all lies are disingenuous, but this is oftentimes a nefarious type of lie, because if you lie by omission, you're actively deceiving the person you're lying to by giving them a kernel of truth and just circumventing the reality of the situation. So, you know what? We don't know anything about Hunter. There's other people looking into it. Why are you asking me? When in reality, the entire system is protecting one political party and going after Trump in a way they would never go after Democrats. So if Trump had servers with top secret intel transferred onto them, or a laptop. See, Trump doesn't have a laptop and servers. They have nothing on Trump. But that's why he won the popular vote.
Confident that he had stopped, you could.
And I do not intend to interfere with him.
So it was a lot of Chinese money that was working its way through these shell companies into the accounts of the Biden family. So the China Initiative was set up during the Trump administration at the Department of Justice to go after the malign influence of the Chinese Communist Party. And the Biden Justice Department dissolved the China Initiative. So I guess I'm wondering, does the department have any documents that would detail the basis for why you got rid of the China Initiative that President Trump had set up?
The Assistant Attorney General for the National Security Division gave a long speech which explained that. He has testified before Congress several times. We'd be happy to provide you with...
What's the basis? Just tell us all now. Why was the China Initiative dissolved?
What the Assistant Attorney General said was that we face attacks from 4 nation states: North Korea, China.
Are taking $50,000 a month to do China's bidding and give them whatever research was being done. Are you aware of the millions of dollars that moved through Rob Walker's shell companies from Chinese Communist Party entities into Biden family bank accounts? Are you aware of that?
There were a lot of questions that you just asked. Let me start with the first one about North Korea. North Korea is a dangerous actor, both kinetically and with respect to cyber.
But not on par with China. I'm on the Armed Services Committee, Mr. Attorney General. It makes you look unserious to suggest that.
May I answer your question or not?
Answer the question about whether or not you know about all the millions of dollars that moved through Rob Walker's.
So you don't want me to answer about North Korea?
I already know the answer, and so does everyone. They're not the same risk as China. So let's get on to serious questions and serious answers. Do you know about the money that moved through Rob Walker's shell companies, yes or no?
As I have said repeatedly, I have left these matters to Mr. Weiss.
So it's true. He's not lying. He left the matters to another person. End of story, right? I mean, he's not lying. He's telling the truth. Merrick Garland is telling the truth, ladies and gentlemen. He left the matters to someone else. Okay, now the question is that other person investigating the Bidens in a manner that Mueller investigated Trump? How about no? Okay, so this is, one of the amusing, another reason to watch this channel, because we just obsess or talk about the obvious and all the lies by omission by wonderful, highly educated bureaucrats. A bureaucrat can circumvent the truth a million different ways, utilizing bureaucracy as a shield. And you see this right now.
I've not intruded, I've not interfered, I've not tried to find out what he knows.
It's like you're looking the other way on purpose because everybody knows this stuff's happening. And you know what? People don't pay bribes to not get something in return, right? The China Initiative resulted in the convictions of a Harvard professor, of someone at Monsanto. So we were working against the Chinese. They paid the Bidens, and now you're sitting here telling me that North Korea is the big threat. I got to get to this one thing on January 6th. So did the FBI lose count of the number of paid informants on January 6th?
Let me answer your question about China.
I want you to answer this question. I only get 5 minutes. You've already screwed the pooch on China. So January 6th, did you lose count of the number of federal assets? Did you lose count in order?
Wait a second. There were federal assets? Wait a second. There were people linked somehow to the federal government? So Vivek Ramaswamy is correct, and the ladies at The View might not be correct? But I thought the ladies at The View, and I thought Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski, and I thought, all the pundits on late night TV and all the pundits at MSNBC and CNN, I thought Trump tried to rebel against the country. That it was an organized attempt by Trump and the deranged maniac Trumpers to rebel against this nation. That's what Colorado said. The Colorado Supreme Court literally tried to ban Trump, and of course the U.S. Supreme Court overturned that. And the U.S. Supreme Court gave Trump immunity, undermining Jack Smith's entire case. Trump had every right to voice his discontent. It really doesn't matter if he was spreading a viewpoint that Democrats feel is a lie. They lie all the time. One example is Biden saying he would stay in the contest and then getting usurped by his vice president. That was 3 weeks of endless lying. Then they said, well, his lies caused people to commit crimes. No, it didn't. No, his speech did not cause anyone to commit a crime. The Supreme Court has already ruled on that. He ruled against Jack Smith. And so now the issue is, there might have been involvement. What they state is, are you claiming that the Federal Bureau or other agencies orchestrated, created? See, you don't have to quote unquote orchestrate or create. Okay? If you're involved in any way, shape, or form to try to foment something, if you're the U.S. government, and you're a government agency and you're paying informants or you're linked to informants, they're not directly working with the government. See, again, you're talking about semantics when the truth is apparent. Why was there anyone associated with the United States government that day? That's the question that Democrats need to answer, and it's a rhetorical question.
An audit.
Gentleman's time has expired.
I get an answer to the question of did they lose count?
No, let him answer the question.
The time has expired. The Attorney General can respond.
China is the most aggressive.
He doesn't go to the second question, okay? Because he knows. But here,
your online business? Go to Wix.com and set.
He doesn't go to the actual question. He goes back to, filibustering. But this is Matt Gaetz also talking about McCarthy. So I think that there are numerous subplots here. There's the McCarthy versus Gaetz, which is the reason, perhaps, possibly the reason that the ethics report might be released about Matt Gaetz. But the ethics report was written by Democrats. So the ethics report was written by a Democratic staffer almost certainly. So what do you expect? And then you get, he admits to partying, Matt Gaetz, and he admits to dating a number of people. And so this means that he's guilty of... There's a lot of really absurd leaps of logic here that you don't... Again, Democrats don't use these leaps of logic against all of the litany of Democrats accused of really terrible things.
Mr. Gaetz for 5 minutes.
On this very floor in January, the whole world witnessed a historic contest for House Speaker. I rise today to serve notice. Mr. Speaker, you are out of compliance with the agreement that allowed you to assume this role. The path forward for the House of Representatives is to either bring you into immediate total compliance or remove you pursuant to a motion to vacate the chair. We have had no vote on term limits or on balanced budgets as the agreement demanded and required. There's been no full release of the January 6 tapes as you promised. There has been insufficient accountability for the Biden crime family. And instead of cutting spending to raise the debt limit, you relied on budgetary gimmicks and rescissions so that you ultimately ended up serving as the valet to underwrite Biden's debt and advance his spending agenda. Mr. Speaker, you boasted in January that we would use the power of the subpoena and the power of the purse. But here we are, 8 months later, and we haven't even sent the first subpoena to Hunter Biden. That's how you know that the rushed and somewhat rattled performance you just saw from the Speaker isn't real. At this point, during Democrat control over the House of Representatives.
And that's true. If Democrats had Trump with a laptop and Eric Trump and Jared Kushner and Donald Trump Jr. with a laptop full of potential bribery and graft, there would be endless congressional inquiries, demands for congressional testimony. It would be endless. Media, oh my God, would get 35,000 Pulitzer Prizes. It's such an and then you get this really shameful type of reaction from even far left progressives who really are taking it to the system, man. It's like, no, you're not really taking it to the system. They're protecting, they're playing this kind of coy sheepish, well, we have to investigate Trump. I mean, the intel agencies said that he was a Kremlin operative, so we don't know. It's like, oh, now you trust the intel agencies? What if the reverse were true and Trump's intel agencies actually found endless criminal wrongdoing from Hunter? Oh, you wouldn't trust them then. I love it when Democrats are like, this government agency, this nonprofit, this respected agency agrees with us. Well, what if they didn't agree with you? Your appeal to authority is only good. It only amounts to an appeal to authority when the authority in referenced agrees with Democrats. Otherwise, they don't appeal to authority. But anyway, let's continue.
Representatives, they had already brought in Don Jr. 3 times. And we haven't even sent the first subpoena to Hunter Biden. Power of the subpoena and power of the purse. Only thing the 118th Congress is known for at this point is electing Kevin McCarthy Speaker and underwriting Biden's debt. And unfortunately, there's only one of those things we can remediate at this time. Power of the purse. Our leadership right now is asking us to vote for a continuing resolution. A vote for a continuing resolution is a vote to continue the Green New Deal, a vote to continue inflationary spending, and in the most troubling of fashions, a vote for a continuing resolution is a vote to continue the election interference of Jack Smith. Mr. Speaker, we told you how to use the power of the purse. Individual, single subject spending bills that would allow us to have specific review, programmatic analysis, and that would allow us to zero out the salaries of the bureaucrats who have broken bad, targeted President Trump, or cut sweetheart deals for Hunter Biden. September 30th is rapidly approaching, and you have not put us in a position to succeed. There is no way to pass all the individual appropriations bills now, and it's not like we didn't know when September 30th was going to show up on the calendar. I must be better, you must be better, and this House must be better, for it is the last best hope for tens of millions of Republicans. We demand real oversight against this weaponized government. Just look at the bribery. If tens of millions of dollars flowing from foreign corrupt people into the bank accounts of the Biden family wasn't enough for actual impeachment, why were we even looking? Joe Biden deserves impeachment for converting the vice presidency into an ATM machine for virtually his entire family. We all see it. We all know it. Now, moments ago, Speaker McCarthy endorsed an impeachment.
See, I used to be a lifelong Democrat, okay? Trump doesn't have a foundation with weapons deals and a uranium deal. He doesn't have secret servers. Nothing Trump did amounted to anything close to a laptop full of graft and bribery or secret servers with top secret intel on them. There's nothing that he's accused of. If you want to talk about certain issues, Biden has been accused of the same type of thing, literally the same type of thing before he became president. Joe Biden was accused of this almost exactly the same thing Trump was accused of. Every liberal publication went to bat for him, ran interference, protected Biden, and actually went after the person making the allegation. And it's unbelievable. The Democratic Party, if it continues the same way, the pendulum has completely swung because nobody trusts media and nobody cares about Hollywood or the music industry. See, up until recently, it would make some kind of sense, or it would actually be somewhat influential to have a musical artist or an actor or late night comedian or, endless hit pieces that would sway the electorate. The electorate is tired. They don't care anymore. And they understand that it's basically an extension of the Democratic Party. All of this is public relations. They don't care anymore. Media has its lowest trust or favorability or trust rating ever. Nobody cares about Hollywood anymore. Nobody cares about the music industry. And the social media algorithms are actually letting you say more. You can actually talk about a lot more things now. Because what used to happen is Twitter would serve as the initial gatekeeper. And if you were kicked off of Twitter, or the algorithm there basically influenced everywhere else. So if it was censored on Twitter, then it would be on Facebook and other platforms. But now, they don't have that. They don't have that. Elon Musk has it, and Doge is going to really shut down a whole bunch of things. But Paul Bartlett, thank you to my super chat. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. And thank you for the kind words, everybody. But yeah, I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable that the Democratic Party is the Republican Party of 24 years ago. The Republicans 20 plus years ago pontificated, preached, gave sermons and lectures on morality. Now the Democrats are doing the same thing. And they're the militant party the way Republicans were, the never Trumpers were 20 years ago.
Impeachment inquiry. This is a baby step following weeks of pressure from House conservatives to do more. We must move faster. Now, I will concede that the votes I have called for will likely fail: term limits, balanced budgets, maybe even impeachment. I am prepared for that eventuality because at least if we take votes, the American people get to see who's fighting for them and who's willing to tolerate more corruption and business as usual. Mr. Speaker, dust off our written January agreement. You have a copy. Reflect on the spirit of that agreement and build on the start that we had moments ago. Begin to comply. No continuing resolutions, individual spending bills or bust, votes on balanced budgets and term limits, subpoenas for Hunter Biden and the members of the Biden family who've been grifting off of this country, and the impeachment for Joe Biden that he so richly deserves. Do these things or face a motion to vacate the chair. And let me alert the country, a motion to vacate might not pass at first, but it might before the 15th vote. And if Democrats bail out McCarthy, as they may do, then I will lead the resistance to this uniparty and the Biden-McCarthy-Jeffries government that they are attempting to build.
Christmas in America. GCU wishes you many cherished memories with family, friends, and loved ones this holiday season. Merry Christmas from Grand Canyon University.
So, what Matt Gaetz did, see, the ethics report, it's not really an ethics report, it's just a bunch of allegations that aren't substantiated by enough evidence to bring a legal charge against Matt Gaetz. But all of this stems from very likely his rift and rivalry or beef with Kevin McCarthy, and also the fact that he's going to release all the goods. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene might also be a part of this as well.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to raise a question. What was the secret side deal on Ukraine? House Democrats and applies to this statement. First, the Speaker's statement confirms the existence of a secret deal. And I have talked to members of our own leadership who have said they didn't even know that Speaker McCarthy was negotiating a secret side deal outside of our conference, outside of his own leadership team, for the sake of Ukraine.
So, ladies and gentlemen, he's the only person, Matt Gaetz was the only person, in addition to Marjorie Taylor Greene, there's some other people, but he really, he almost single-handedly changed the course of congressional Republicans, the history of congressional Republicans, by ousting Kevin McCarthy. I actually liked Kevin McCarthy. I think he could have been great. I just don't know why McCarthy didn't acquiesce a little bit. I mean, here you had McCarthy helped take back the House, after Democrats held it for a long while. Okay, 4 years or so. But all McCarthy had to do was simply play ball with the populist movement that was taking over the Republican Party. I don't get it. I don't understand. What was so difficult? So you mean McCarthy couldn't do what Mike Johnson is doing now? I don't get it. I actually, to tell you the truth, I liked Kevin McCarthy. I thought that if Kevin McCarthy was more of a populist Republican, there'd be no stopping. I think Kevin McCarthy is actually probably better in a political sense than Mike Johnson, or maybe able to get more done. But Mike Johnson's more populist. I just don't get it. What was the point of McCarthy going up against Gates when at the end of the day he lost his speakership? What was the point? It's not like, it's like if he could have stayed Speaker of the House. He could have stayed Speaker of the House, and he could have remained in the top leadership role in the House of Representatives, forged a greater bond with Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Rand Paul, other congressional Republicans in the House. Rand Paul's in the Senate. But he chose to just go up against Gaetz, and what was holding him back? I don't get it. I don't understand. Because he lost it anyway. Now Mike Johnson is Speaker. And now, likely, possibly, McCarthy is still going after Gaetz, possibly, even, years after he's no longer in Congress. So I just don't get it. But doing that did send a message. Okay, did send a message. And there still are the Senate was taken back, the presidency, the Supreme Court, every battleground state, the popular vote. But in certain districts around, you have a lot of congressional seats, House seats in blue states. So that could be linked to the immigration policies of Democrats, possibly. Possibly. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be doing more on this. I might do a segment tomorrow on Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think she's going to be part of releasing information that Gaetz has stated he's going to release. Hit subscribe. Paul Bartlett, thank you to my super chat. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Merry Christmas is coming up. Happy New Year. Stay safe on those roads. The roads are always dangerous around the holiday season. So stay safe. And obviously, just stay home if you have had too much to drink. And remember that others, unfortunately, possibly could have had too much. And stay safe.